Creative Audio. We are in beautiful Miami, Florida for the Miami International Boat Show. So I'm James with Creative.
Don.
And we are out to check out a lot of the speakers and equipment that you guys all use out in the field. So we're gonna meet with some of our vendors like Kicker, Wet Sounds, JL.
We got Rockford, Fosgate.
Yep.
We got all the Garmin brands.
Infinity and several others. So we're gonna take a look at all the new products that are coming out, but also show you some applications that you may not have thought of before. So follow along as we show you some of the new stuff that's headed your way.
And some great boats.
Yes. We're now taking a look at this beautiful Bay Rider 269. So this is gonna be all set up with Wet Sounds equipment from the factory, but it's gonna be all the Revo equipment and XXX that we're used to seeing on the aftermarket side. So it's cool to see the integration, but also making sure that they have what the enthusiasts are looking for from the factory on a boat. So Don's in there taking a look at some of the audio system. Let's go ahead and jump on board and take a look at some of the setup and some of the integration that's going on inside this boat. So you've heard us talk about NMEA integration, or NEMA for short. When we talk about that, we're talking about integrating the radio into your MFD. So you already have all the real estate set up here with all your touchscreen, but using the Wet Sounds hideaway unit, you can actually have the unit control here on the dash, but also control off your MFD. So you can see here we're on the AM, FM, but you can go in and do the manual volume changes, all of your source changing directly through your MFD. So very cool integration. And the nice thing about it is you're not giving up that real estate that you're paid for on your dash. Staying with the same outlook of having limited space, take a look at the usage of the Revo 8s inside this Bay Rider. So we've got 2 pairs of 8s overhead, and then we have a second pair down here. So you can set up with multiple zone control and be able to get that sound exactly where you want it. They even were able to fit in a woofer, but not just any woofer. This is gonna be the XXX 12 from Wet Sounds. So huge power, car audio-like bass, but in a marine application. Again, this great sleek grille. It's gonna protect the speaker, but also look clean and not take away from the boat. So this has a hidden away unit that controls the radio itself. It has all the feature sets, connects to your amplifiers, but it can be hidden out of sight, out of mind, because on a center console like this, you're really limited on your dash space. So Wet Sounds is taking that a step further. If we take a look inside here, you're gonna notice not only the control center for the radio itself, but also where our amplifiers are gonna be mounted. So very clean install, very cool, and we're excited to hear what this sounds like. So now we're outside of the 269, so you can actually hear how well that sound gets up and outside of the boat. So this is great for if you're swimming around it, if you're fishing on it, so tons of versatility, but it sounds great not only in the boat, but outside the boat. So that's something that a lot of our customers look for, and this is very cool that it's an OEM system that we can often replicate ourselves, updating boats that you already have. Something we did not expect to see was gonna be a car with marine audio, but we're kind of halfway there. So if you take a look at this, we've got not only your Ferrari, but we also have your G-Wagon. These are all gonna be actually set up with marine audio speakers because these are gonna be boats or pleasure crafts. So very cool, unique application, but something you don't see everywhere, only in Miami. So in order to call yourself creative, you not only have to be able to talk the talk, you have to walk the dock. So now that we're on the 57 Fly from Cruiser Yacht, we're gonna take a look at some of the audio system that's gonna be in there. Some familiar faces, but this is gonna be a Fly Bridge yacht. So it's got plenty of space, plenty of room, innovation, but again, we're gonna see some of the familiar faces on the speaker side. Don, what's gonna be on here?
Speaking of that, Harman Kardon is the OEM division for JBL and Infinity speakers. This boat's outfitted with them. So we're gonna do a little walkthrough, look at what they have. But you can see that they're coming in strong in this market, and they have some great speakers to offer, not only for the OEM side, but for the retail side, which is where we specialize, and you'll see in our stores and online as well.
So if it's good enough for a wakeboard boat, all the way up to a yacht, you know it's gonna be a good fit. So now that we're on the bow of the 57 Fly, there's gonna be plenty of space for you to lounge with your friends, but the big thing is the audio goes with you everywhere you're at. So we've got speakers down here, a control system down here, so you'll be able to do the zones, but the nice thing about it, you know, we've touched on zones before, but this is gonna give you that chance to have that expandability, but also everybody in different zones can be listening at different volumes, enjoying different music, so it really is gonna set the tone for how you're gonna be using the boat.
And when you set these up, you can tie them into your mobile device. So not only do you have to adjust the zone here, but if you're the captain of the ship, somebody's getting a little too rowdy, put them on mute, shut them down. So there's a lot of control that you can have when you set up a boat properly with zones, not only for fun, but for safety as well.
So now that we're on the inside in the galley of this 57 foot, you're gonna notice some different things that you wouldn't expect on some of the other boats we've looked at, from a flat screen TV like you would have at your home to a full kitchen, but you come up here and you have all of your audio integration. So when you start thinking about boats and vessels of this size, they're gonna use multiple different charging styles, whether it be 110 volt, 12 volt, 24 volt, depending on how it's gonna be set up. But all of that is gonna integrate through the NEMA network and be able to be controlled. So that goes back to your zone control, so you don't need to be listening to the TV when you're up on the bow, and vice versa. So very cool. And then some custom touches here, that this is gonna be color matched to the overhead paneling using that factory grill. So nice touches, great finish, and very cool integration. So we've stepped up to the namesake, the Fly Bridge. So up here at the helm, we're gonna notice that we have a different sized receiver, but it's still gonna have all the same functionality that we expect whenever we're down in the galley, or if you're gonna be like on the swim deck. This is gonna have all the controls at your fingertips and allow for the multi-zone control, but also the functionality. You know, you can see this one here has album artwork, so there's various size screens, various integration that it's gonna have different touch points on it. But again, you can control it all off your MFD, tie it in with your cameras, as you can see here. So great audio integration, but expandability, and again, color matched custom grills. This is a very cool setup. So Mercury brought out V12 600 horsepower outboard. Take a look at the size of this thing. For reference, I'm 5'12". The shoes are off, so now we're gonna take a look at this H9 from Four Winds that's all set up with JL audio from the factory. So come on board and let's take a look. Now that we're on board the open bow 29-foot Four Winds, let's take a look at some of the OEM audio systems. So this has got some familiar faces that we're used to seeing on the aftermarket side. From M6 towers, you got 7.7s up top in the all gloss white and the sport grille. Down here, we're gonna have some more 7.7s, and these are gonna be in the gunmetal titanium finish. So nice touch. You can see that you can integrate. You don't have to stick with the same finish all throughout the boat. With a lot of the new boats coming with the two-tone interior, or sometimes even three-tone, you can either do the custom shop and custom applications for the colors on your boat, or you can mix and match depending on where you're gonna be putting them. As always, integration is the name of the game. So when we take a look up here, we've got the Media Master 55 compact media center. So this is gonna control everything for your audio setup, but the cool thing about that is that's gonna be on the NEMA network, the NMEA. So that's gonna allow you to actually control everything over here on your Simrad through the NEMA network. So on your MFD, you'll be able to control all of your audio settings, your zones, whether you're turning up and down the subwoofer that's mounted here, if you're gonna turn up and down your tower speakers. So control from either side and as well through the app is gonna give you a lot of functionality. So you hear us talk about zones all the time and zone control. Best way to describe that is if you notice up here in this bow, we actually have a complete ecosystem of, we have the pair of 7.7s, the 10-inch woofer. So if we have people sitting up here lounging and they don't need to be blown out by the tower speakers back in the back, that's where that zone control is gonna come into play. So each zone can have its own separate volume and control from either the app, the Media Master 55, or off your Simrad. So very cool, but that kind of puts it in perspective of how you're gonna be using zone control and the functionality of it, why it's so important.
I'm wide awake, and all the voices in my head wanna play. You're gonna take me to the place where
We're here with our partners Rockford, Fosgate, and Bjorn here is going to take us through their booth. They've got an impressive setup, not only from the statement, the name says itself, all the way down to the CBV boats that we've got tower speakers, source units, speakers. So let's take a look. You mind if we take a look at the statement?
No, absolutely. Let's
Perfect.
take a look at it.
All right, let's do it. So now we're at the back of the 43-foot statement. Let's take a look here. You've got 4 500s. So what are we going to be doing to keep up with all that? I'm assuming there's a big system.
Yeah, it needs a massive audio system. We've got a 62 speaker system, 20 subwoofers, 20 amplifiers.
Oh, perfect.
It takes a lot of sound to overcome, 100 mile an hour.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at it and see what you got going on. You've got speakers everywhere as far as I can see.
Yeah.
What's the numbers? What's the count that we're looking at?
So we've got 6 6.5s firing back in the T-top here. Everything else speaker-wise is an 8-inch. So there's 36 8-inch. We got 10 10-inch subwoofers, 10 12-inch subwoofers. running on 20 of our M5 amplifiers.
Very cool.
Yes,
It's a clean setup, and I like the grills are beefy, but they still look with that
Yeah, it
sport look.
kind of went with the sport look, and we also did a split with our standard dome tweeters and our horn speakers
cool. I see
to
that.
get a good mix of sound and output. They're both loud, you know?
Yeah, oh,
Gotta be.
absolutely.
Yep, yes, sir.
That's very cool. We'll take a closer look at the install and where the amplifiers
Yes,
are
sir.
and some of the other speaker mounting. So thank
Absolutely.
you. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man.
So we've seen the speakers, we've seen the subs, but how are they going to power over 60 different speakers? So take a look here. We've got all the Rockford amps out here on display. So nice family look, very cool, very clean installation, great wire management that we all appreciate. But that is a ton of power, but that's what you need when you're running 64 plus speakers. Inside the main convention center at this point, we're going to take a look at anything and everything boat related, from Mercury to inboards, outboards, anything that you're going to use for a boat, but also means that there's going to be some audio. So we're going to go find our friends at
Kicker, they have a booth inside.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go take a look at that and check out what's on the floor, so follow along. Showcasing the premium marine, Kicker's got out their full line of components, coaxes, and also their preloaded enclosure. We've done a video on this in the past, but something that's really cool to see out here is this is all lit up, and this is going to be the loaded enclosure that has one full subwoofer and then a passive radiator. So what that's going to do for you is you're not needing a ton of power, but you're going to have that implied sound of having two subwoofers when really you're only having to worry about powering one. So very versatile, cool way to mount, great build quality, something cool that we're really excited about. KMC, or Kicker Media Center. So that's going to be their lineup of source units and wired remotes. So there's going to be plenty of options, whether you need just a standard gauge mount radio, where the KMC2 is going to be a good fit. If you need some zone control, that's where you're going to get in the KMC4, KMC5. Also to note, on the KMC5, it is NMEA certified. So this actually connects to your MFD. So plenty of control, a lot of integration, ease of use, and you can run an entire Kicker system. So from your amplifiers to your LED rings that we can see here, anything that you want to run on a Kicker system, you can put the whole thing together and integrate it all through the source unit. Kicker has a wide range of tower speakers, so whether you're needing to utilize a 4-inch speaker, a 6.5 and 8, or you can even buy them preloaded. So they've got their KM-TC series and KM-F series. So TC is going to be a swivel clamp. That's going to be a universal style clamp that allow you to pivot and lock the speaker in place, or you can do their FC. So if you're mounting to like a radar arch or somewhere that you're going to have it mounted to a flat surface, that's going to be where you're going to want that style mount. And those are available not only in, you know, the larger horn-loaded compression drivers, the 11-inch towers, all the way down to the 6.5. So several different ways to mount it. You know, different colorways, different styles, whether you need a tweeter for when you're listening to it up close, or if you need that horn-loaded compression driver to get it up and out of the boat. So if you're wake surfing, wakeboarding, things like that, they've got plenty of different options. So wherever you've got a spot to mount a speaker, Kicker has a solution. So JL brought out their full Media Master lineup, not only just the source units, but also the remotes. So you're gonna see MMR, so that's gonna be Media Master Remote. So we've got the 40 with the display, you've got the 20 with the LED, then you've got this new piece that's gonna be a 4-zone wireless controller that's battery powered, that actually floats for a while, but it's gonna give you 4-zone control built off of this piece itself. And then also you're gonna see some of their NEMA connections. So be it the large volume knob with the pause, mute feature built in, or, you know, connecting to any of just their source units. So the 105 is gonna give you a larger display, a little bit more zone control, but the 55, they've actually upgraded recently to where it will be compatible with the HTML piece. So we looked at that a little bit earlier. This is a great explanation of the difference between a standard NEMA connection and the HTML connection. So this is gonna be the standard NEMA connection. So it brings over all the information. You know, the best analogy I can give you is going from Bluetooth to CarPlay. So if you have the HTML piece on your MFD, you're actually gonna have the JL Audio GUI that you can go to and select. So this replicates everything that you're gonna see on your Media Master for ease of use, control, but also just the functionality in general is gonna give you all those settings and everything that you're used to using, whether you're using the JL Media Master app, or if you're using your 55, your 105, or controlling it simply off your MFD. So very cool integration. Garmin's also showcasing the full line of the Fusion Apollo equipment. So that's going to be from the MSRA 770, that's going to connect with your NEMA with the full touchscreen color display, to their 7.7s and 8.8s, and then you're going to get down into the larger 12s, and then also the Apollo amplifiers. So that's going to have a built-in DSP that's actually designed to pair exactly with their speakers and pre-tuned. So whenever you set up your 770, you pick which speakers you have in your layout, and the amplifier is pre-tuned for that at that point. So very cool tech, very cool piece. So taking a closer look at some of the Fusion lineup, you're going to notice several different reel styles. The Apollo that we were talking about earlier, down to some of them where they're flush mount. So this is going to be great for if you're looking for an OEM look, if you're not wanting to disrupt the interior of your cabin cruiser. Depending on how you're going to be using it, you can see how flush that is. Again, another sport grill, and then a classic that's going to protect the speaker itself. So tons of options. No matter what you need, there's going to be a Fusion grill that fits your build and fits your style. Another staple in the Garmin lineup is going to be Clarion Marine. So whether you're looking to replace in your boat the single din with the oversized display, or if you want to go to one of their newer pieces that's going to have the NEMA connectivity, there's some very cool stuff in this lineup that's going to fit anywhere in your range, whether you're needing just to replace the 6.5, whether you want to go upgrade to something that has more of the sporty look with the built-in LED, or even get to some of their premium like they have in the 7.7. So Clarion's got a huge array. It's a full line. Not a lot of lines have everything from RCA, interconnects, source units, wired remotes, wireless remotes, single DIN radios, 7.7s. They've got the full array. So very cool to see us out here. We've got the gauge mount radio, single DIN, some of the new style with the NEMA connectivity, and then black box, of course, so you can tuck that away depending on the real estate of your dash. So great stuff.